Well, hello, and happy Monday to you. I'm so thrilled to be doing this live stream today to share with you how luxury brands get their customers to happily pay more for their services, even if there are other cheaper alternatives on the market. Customers happily buy those luxury brands. And one of the things that I want you to walk away with is that Rolls-Royce does not try to compete with Toyota. That's the number one reason. They know who they are as a brand. They understand why they're different. They're not looking to see what Toyota does next to try to create their products. They have created and stand in a positioning on their own. They understand that they're a very unique brand. They're not even trying to compete with BMW, which is still within the luxury sector. Like Rolls-Royce knows that Rolls-Royce is like the pinnacle, right? It's what we call a Veblen brand. It's that brand that after a certain, and this is an economic theory, after a certain level, the marginal utility for a product is so high that the price versus the value relatively does not really match, because now it has an additional, what we call a snob effect, that when you own a Rolls-Royce, you have actually attained a certain level of success that very, very few people in the world has. It's almost like a unicorn level, right? Even if like there are, 200 Rolls-Royce being produced every year, not so much of a unicorn, but still it creates that unicorn effect because the brand is unique and stands on its own. So I always say to clients, know who you are as a brand. If you're a Rolls-Royce, don't try to behave like a Toyota. Don't try to compete with the Toyotas of your industry. Really stand firm in your positioning, defining who is your ideal client. What do they value? Okay, what makes your brand different? What will create that additional snob factor for your brand that increases the marginal utility for it, so that people start to see your brand as that brand? If you desire a luxury positioning, that is, that your brand is different, that your brand is actually worth more, that they're happy to pay more to do business with you, because doing business with you gives them that extra level of emotional, okay, and self-actualized value. And why self-actualization is so important? We know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The peak of Maslow's hierarchy is that self-actualized point. Does your brand reflect that highest level of achievement for your client in the market? If you really want to create a true luxury position in the market, you must reflect the self-actualized self of your ideal client. So Rolls-Royce works, and it makes sense for the right customer, because when you have attained a certain level of success, you get to make the ultimate statement of that level of success by driving a Rolls-Royce. It's the same with brands like even Louboutin and even Mercedes and BMW. Like at a certain level, you feel like this is how I'm going to express myself, actualize the consumer. This is how I'm going to express that I have attained a certain level of success, that I'm a high performer, I'm a high achiever, that I value quality, I value excellence, so I drive or wear the best. And unless your brand can do that and create that additional emotional and self-actualized value for your ideal client, then they won't see the value of paying more to do business with you. And the ways that we do that with brands, even when you're new in the market and you don't necessarily have the heritage of, say, a Mercedes or a Rolls-Royce, because a lot of luxury brands tend to leverage their heritage. Something that you can leverage is your savoir-faire, and really be strong in that. Like, what are you masterful at? What are you the best at in the world? And really leverage that as a pedigree factor of your brand. Luxury brands tend to create all this pedigree around them that creates that additional value. So we know how to do this. We have master ateliers. We're French, we're Italian. These are all pillars that brands leverage to create pedigree. We also leverage something called archetypes in our system, and you can grab my ebook. It's called Great Brands Have an It Factor, Discover Yours. And I'll share with you like how brands create that Veblen effect, Remember, I spoke about that snob factor that increases the value, the marginal utility for a product to the point that it exceeds, the marginal utility exceeds the actual value. Like there's a point where it doesn't really make sense why you're paying $40,000 for this Hermes handbag, right? Because yes, of course, it took like 100 hours to do it, ateliers who have 15 years experience of creating it. But does it really match up to the price gap? There's actually a price gap, and that's what we call that snob effect. And I go into detail with that because if you're not necessarily a luxury product, but you're a coach or consultant, there are ways that you can leverage these very same cues in your brand that will allow you to reach high-end clients and earn more for your products and services by creating a Veblen effect around your brand. And you can get that in the ebook. You can also have an opportunity to speak to me about your brand if you're looking to up level and take your business to the next level of luxury status in your industry. We do offer free consultation calls where you will be able to learn more about how you can implement the it factor method in your brand to quickly establish yourself as a luxury level coach or consultant in your industry. So I hope that you enjoyed this live today. Leave a comment below. Also, you feel free to subscribe to my channel so that you always know when I release videos. And as always, live the cultured life.